Hey everyone, welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel if you've been watching. If you're new, thank you very much for watching and subscribing. My name is Scott and I own Golden Era Aged Guitars with my wife Laura. We're a small family business and we're based in Northern Ireland, specialising in parts casters, bodies and necks, sometimes plastics too. This video was actually promised in the middle or towards the end of one of the videos I did in January, an unboxing video, and I said I wanted to bring you guys in for a closer look just at some of the decisions that I might make whenever a new delivery of bodies comes in, what I want to do with them and colours I want to use. So the next section you're going to see is the bench cam. We're going to go back over to the point of view camera at the workbench, have a look at some bodies, talk about some colours, and if you want to leave a comment maybe challenging one of those decisions, absolutely, go right ahead, but let's hop over to the workbench and go from there. Okay guys, we're back at the bench, and this is a video, I think I said I was going to do this a while ago, and it's kind of not happened until now. So this is actually, this body, and you can see the bodies off the camera here, this body and those other ones are actually, well, most of them are part of a delivery that I got, I'm going to say January, because we're at the end of March now. So annoyingly, these have actually been sitting doing a whole lot of nothing for like 2 months. So that's really annoying, but I'm so busy. You know, it's crazy. You blink and 3 months has gone by, and then, yeah, crazy. So what I want to do is, I promised this video in that last one where we did the unboxing in January. I said I wanted to go through some of these and maybe talk about them, and I think there was a bit of a reaction that, yeah, that would be cool. You know, some of you would like to see that. So I'm going to go through. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 7 bodies here. I don't know. We'll maybe get through them all. I'll maybe just do a couple. I don't know, but I've hit record and we're just going to do this and have a bit of fun, and I'll try and bring you into some of the thought processes. You know, you guys might look at some of the stuff I show you and disagree with my decision on what I want to do with them, and that's cool. That's absolutely cool. We're all different and we all like different things. It doesn't mean anybody's wrong, but I want to kind of show you what I would do as the person who's going to paint them, knowing what the final result could be. So I've actually started with this one, a Tele Deluxe, and this is one that's routed for a single coil and a wide range. Up here in the pocket, I haven't stamped it yet, so it doesn't say Golden Era, but £3, 15.7 ounces. So you might as well call that, I mean, obviously the 3 looks pretty good, but you might as well call that £4, right? So this one, nice center join, and you can see there's a continuation of the grain, which is really nice. But I don't know. This one, I don't have, annoyingly, yeah, for the Deluxe, I actually thought I did have a scratch plate, but I don't. So I was going to overlay some hardware. I suppose the only thing I could actually put on at the minute is the bridge. Because when you look at these things, you're kind of looking at them thinking, yeah, it's kind of cool, you know, it's maybe a bit attractive, or maybe there's an ugly bit down here, or maybe up here, whatever. You can't build that full picture unless you've got the hardware. Annoyingly, as I say, I don't have a scratch plate. But essentially what you're going to only see on this is you're only going to see this section here. And you're, of course you're going to see the back as well, the full back. But this one, I don't know. I mean, at the minute, we've got some mineral streaks going on. I don't really find that to be a particularly big issue, if I'm being honest, because when you've got a really nice sunburst on something, then you maybe don't see them, so it's maybe not a big deal. The only reason I mention that this one might be a solid color is because I have to kind of, I suppose, bring in the second one, which is this. Now the camera's making that join look a lot more harsh, if you like, than it is in real life. But having said that, you could get away with a sunburst on this, and a pretty nice one at that. Simply because obviously again we're only gonna see this section up here, so we're kind of looking at, it's like a nice reverse cathedral grain pointing that way. The ideal is obviously that they point that way, but that's just what we're used to looking at in old blackguards. You know, everything, all the grain kind of goes that way. So they set the marker back in the 50s very high for some of these little details, but yeah, this one is going that way. It's got a bit of a join going on, which isn't a big deal, because as you can see on the back, whatever way the wood has coloured on the back compared to the other side, this looks fab. You know, I can see this with a nice sunburst going around it, and then you're going to see the majority of this centre section here, and you're going to catch, I mean, the grain on the back's lovely. It's absolutely lovely. So I would actually, do you know what? Well, I'll maybe mark that down for a sunburst. And I mean, the worst case scenario is if I do a sunburst and I don't like it, then I'll just do what they used to do back in the day, and I'm sure they still do it now. I'll just put a colour over the top of it. So, you know, it's a win-win. I get to spray a sunburst and then we get a colour over sunburst Tele Deluxe body. How cool is that? So I think based on that one, at the minute, I think what we'll do is we'll mark this one down for a solid colour. Now, the majority of these I've seen are, I mean, this is a 70s thing, right? So they're kind of, they were using whites and blondes. They had black, they had sunburst, and they had various shades of, there was other kind of, not random colours, but there was other colours kind of going through. There was darker reds, there was, I've seen a few brown, like coppery brown ones. Whether they're original or not, I would have to go and do a bit more research, but I think this one could be pretty nice with a solid colour on it, and maybe something not original. So maybe not black, and maybe staying away from blonde or Olympic white. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a think about this one, and we'll come back at the end of the video and see. But for the meantime, I am doing this for real. This is what I do. What I do here is going to stand, and the reason for that is I want us together to be able to look back on these in another video and say, hey, do you remember that video from the end of March? Well, check this out. This is what we did with them. So at the minute, we're going with a sunburst on this guy. Now, as you can see, it also weighs 4 pounds, pretty much bang on 4 pounds. So that's cool. We'll go with that for that one just now. And the one underneath, I'll come back to it. I'm not gonna commit to anything just yet. So I'll set these two out of the way. Now the next one, these are funny. Not haha funny, but they're kind of weird because some people love them and some people just, I don't know, some people just really don't like them. I got a few of these in and I've put them up on the website, and they do sell, but they take a while. That's not really a bad thing. I don't mind, you know. I mean, I joke with people, you like your stock to sell, but at the same time, I don't mind having a few bits and pieces around. I can keep photographing them. I can have some fun. I get to practice my photography skills, and I get to look at them. Sometimes it's handy to have your own stuff around for inspiration. So what I want to do with this one is stay away from maybe stuff that has been done already. So we could maybe try and do something a bit more unique, maybe a bit more niche with this one. So I'm kind of thinking at the minute, let's stick a P90 route up here. That would be pretty cool. So already we've got two different things going on. We're not going with the traditional layout. P90, and then, I mean, the grain's quite nice. I don't want to do a sunburst, although the grain is Green's pretty cool. But I don't think a Sunburst is gonna be. Metal flake finishes, yeah, they always do quite well. In fact, if some of you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen one I'm actually working on where I haven't changed the pickup routing or anything, and it's called Root Beer Metal Flake. And I think in the next video, whatever I do for the next video, I haven't got that far yet, I think I might put it on the bench here and just let you guys see it kind of mocked up with the hardware. So for this one, let's do something. Do I say paisley? Do I dare say paisley? I mean, how does that sound? Paisley, pink paisley, maybe an aged perloid pickguard with a P90 route. How does that sound? Sounds pretty cool. Sounds expensive though. They're quite expensive. They're expensive for me to do in the sense that they're a real time sucker, but I love doing them. I think they're so cool. So okay, let's go P90 neck, and I'm gonna put paisley stroke flake. I'm not going to get too far in this video if I keep saying I'll come back to it, but I think I'm going to come back to that at the end with the other one, and we'll make a decision on those other two. Right, first of the Strat bodies. Now this one is, I think I was asked for a hardtail alder body recently. Now this kind of ties in with something about the custom orders that I'm a little bit, I want to be transparent with this. I do custom orders. There is a waiting list. The waiting list is already exceptionally long. Once you're on the waiting list, you're not committed to actually doing anything. If I contact you in 3 months and say, hey, your name's come up, do you want to do something? You're not obliged to do anything. You just have to reply and say, no, I'm cool, or yes, let's go for it. So that's kind of the way the waiting list is working. Same as any waiting list for a guitar company or custom order company. There's no money required to go on the waiting list. I just need your name, what you're after, and the date. But the reason I bring that up is somebody asked for a hardtail body. Now, I have one here, but the big problem with this is if I start getting into the habit of just doing custom orders, all this stuff here, all this, and the other stuff that's sitting over there, I don't have any fun with it, and I don't have anything interesting to show that is going to be for sale because everything's going to be custom order. And then I have a waiting list of 100 people long who are getting annoyed, a bit ratty, they go and buy other stuff. That's just the way that the whole business works. And we're human, we like to have things a bit, sooner rather than later. But this stuff doesn't take 5 minutes to do, and everybody does appreciate, I know you guys all appreciate that this stuff does not take 5 minutes to do. It takes months and months and months. So the reason that I haven't offered this up as part of a custom order is because this is something that I really want to go out to offer all of you. The same as everybody that you see in here. You will not be able to message, or you can message if you want, but anything you see in this video 100% is not going to be put aside for special order. This is all stuff that I'm going to show you later on, sprayed, finished, aged, photographed. So that's basically the way that I would like to work it. Now, as much as I would spray every single Strat body in the entire planet Sunburst, this is not going to be a Sunburst. So thinking back on some of the recent Strats I've done, I've done Sonic Blue, I've done a natural refinish, I've done, what else have I done? There's been Sunbursts, there's quite a lot of Sunbursts, I guess, isn't there? Nature of the beast and all that. If you talk to me about stuff, that would have been a silly mistake. And I was going to grab that too, but this is a hardtail. So the grain's not bad on it, because when you actually, I'm not trying to talk myself into doing a Sunburst, but there is a nice little bit of grain going on. I think for the most part though, it's not as patterned or as pretty as some of the other stuff that's come in. So I think on this one, I mean, it's good. It'll have to be well, not have to be, but I think it should be a solid color. Now, another thing that kind of plays into my head a little bit is, I mean, I'm thinking about colors I've done recently. Recently, I've done Sonic Blue and I've done Candy Apple Red. Now, those two things are sticking in my head because obviously they were the last things I put up for sale. But the Candy Apple Red was actually a thin line. So, you know, that kind of, you kind of think, well, I've just done Candy Apple Red, but it was on a different shaped body. And it's still for sale as this video is being recorded. But do you do a sunburst, or see Sunburst on the brain, do you do a Candy Apple Red Strat? Will it sell because it's a Strat? So these are all things that you have going through your head. It's kind of, you're kind of second guessing. You're trying to guess what's going to happen, predict the future. I can't predict the future, obviously. So what are we looking at? We're looking at, we've got Fiesta Red, Dakota Red, we can do Candy Apple Red, we can get Surf Green, Foam Green. What about a Foam Green Hardtail? Foam Green Hardtail with a grade mint scratch plate. I think that could be a runner. What else have we got? There's Inca Silver. There's Lake Placid Blue, Sherwood Green, Shell Pink. Those are all pretty... I'm loving the Foam Green idea, it has to be said. Foam Green. But having said that, maybe... Do you know what? Let's do it. Foam Green. Just for point of reference in this video, this body weighs 4 pounds and 4 ounces. So, still a lovely weight for a Strat. Especially a hardtail, because you don't have that big. I think if that was actually, I think if the back was actually, obviously have the trim, spring cavity out of that, it might drop another little bit off. But that's a pretty damn good weight for a hardtail body. I mean, I've had some hardtail bodies in for refinishes, and that was years ago. And I remember feeling them, and it was like you were picking up two bodies at the same time. You know, it was absolutely crazy. So I think that's a really, really good weight. So at the minute, we've got 4. This is all subject to change. By the end of the video, you might, we might go back over all of them and just go, meh, let's just change them all. And by the time I get along to spray, maybe change them again. I don't want to do that. I think that's going to be a really nice piece. So Foam Green. And I'll also put on plus scratch plate. And the scratch plate will be the grey mint. Again, if you follow me or if you've seen anything go up for sale and all that kind of stuff, you know that I do a tobaccoed nicotined mint, and I like to do a grey mint. And I don't know the technical chemical reasons why all these things happen to these scratch plates, but again, it'll be the same as the paint. It's the environment that these things are kept in. Over time, obviously, it changes how things age and how they discolor. So that's pretty cool. I'm liking that. Another thing that's actually that I really like to do is, when you're actually looking, I mean, I'm a Sunburst mega fan. You know, I absolutely love them. But when you look at a whole line of them that you've just done and you think, yeah, they look cool, you kind of miss the color. You know, you miss the reds, you miss the blues and the greens and stuff. So variation's pretty good. I like variation. Now this is the serious stuff here. What do we do with this? Swamp Ash. And this is something that goes on in my head that probably doesn't go on in anybody else's head whatsoever. Maybe if you finish stuff professionally, you might have a different opinion compared to, you know, people who don't spray stuff. When I reach for a Swamp Ash body and I look at it, I immediately have something in my head telling me that is not going to be a two-tone Sunburst. I cannot really, well, I'm going to try and put it into words because that's what the purpose of this video is. But if I just look, okay, the other one, I've got two of them here, okay? Now, that one is rather pretty. My dilemma at the minute is, because I want to do a two-tone Sunburst, is which one would you do? Because my rule at the minute is one's going to be a two-tone, one's going to be a blonde. Not just a flat blonde, this is going to be a blonde burst. So it's going to have that kind of, how did I describe it? It's got like a honeyed lacquer centerpiece going on. And it's got that overspray going around the side. That burst happens, I've been reliably told, that burst happens when they used to spray the side of the body with more blonde or a white, it was maybe a white base coat that used to go on. They used to spray the side of the body, and the burst happens because of the overspray that would have crept up around the side. So when they then put the lacquer on over the top and it all aged to this kind of honeyed, caramelly, ambery, lovely colour going on, you'd have this line going around, this opaque line feeding in, and that's where that whole burst thing came from. Now, there's nothing wrong with this at all. This is all exceptionally pretty swamp ash. I guess it all comes down to whenever you layer it all up of what you're going to see, because again, it's easy just to look at these things and think, okay, I'm going to do this with this one and this with this one. So the hardware definitely helps, and all of a sudden that's kind of changed what I think about that particular body, because I wasn't really thinking that should be a two-tone. But now that I look at it, that could be a very, very pretty two-tone. But let's have a look at the other one, because we didn't actually have a look. I don't know if you can see on camera. This swamp ash is a lot more warmer, I think, than this one. I don't know. You can kind of see on the camera, can't you? I think you can. There's my trusty piece of white paper helping the white balance. This one's definitely paler. I was going to say anemic, but that would be a bit rude. It's just paler. So let's pop that one out of the way. Do a mock-up with this one. Oh, shameless plug. This is the 28th. Today, 28th of March. This scratch plate's for sale on the website. Just for anybody who's interested. Or at least I think it is. Yes. 0362. So that's available, ready to ship to anywhere you want. After Easter, of course, because I don't think there's any post now. So now that's pretty nice. That's very nice. This is tough, man. I don't know. I'm thinking this for the two-tone, because what'll happen is, hopefully, once the burst goes on, we're going to be left with less grain. Excuse me, less grain, which isn't ideal, because you want to see as much of the grain as possible. Excuse me, I was sanding before this video, which wasn't maybe the smartest idea. So yeah, we'll see a bit less. I mean, I can control, I can control the burst, right? I mean, it doesn't have to come right into here. You just have a nice strip going around the edge to show off more of the grain. I reckon once I've got this grain filled and once I've got the colours starting to build up, what'll happen is you'll start to get this 3D effect going on. So it's an effect that you don't get with the blonde, because it's got its white or blonde pigment going through it. So it kind of buries some of this. But the tint that goes on, the yellow tint, once the grain filler's done and once we've got sealer on and then the tint, you'll start to see this grain pop. And the way I can see it finished in my head is that this is going to look really nice when it's finished, especially with these big long strips of grain. But again, see, if you don't layer that up, that's a really difficult decision to make, because you're kind of, you're looking at this pattern here, you're looking at all of this down here, and you lose all that when you put the hardware on. So, okay, decision made. Let's go two-tone. Now I'm waiting for some of my tint to come in. So I'd say by the time the tint arrives, this one will be ready to start spraying, which is good. So we've made a solid decision. But that means that this one can be the blonde. I absolutely love spraying blondes of, any description. It could be a Strat, it could be a Tele body. I'll tell you the one thing I absolutely love doing as a blonde, with like the burst effect on it, Jazz Masters. I absolutely cannot wait to do a Swan Pass Jazz Master. In fact, there might be something coming up soon, wink wink, which is why I'm feeding into the conversation. So just confirm then, this will be a blonde burst. It's worth noting that I do have more bodies than what I'm showing on the bench here. They're in several piles in front of me. There's a few different piles going on for things I have to do to them before I start working. None of these have actually had any, they haven't had any work done. You can see there's no dowels in them. There's nothing like that. The contouring hasn't been done. I haven't really done this before, asking opinions about stuff, but I'm assuming, I show the contours that I do, and I'm assuming that they are liked. I'm assuming that anybody who's bought a Golden Era body appreciates that level of detail, hopefully. So yeah, that's going to be lovely that's going to be a lovely blonde burst. Just right, I think. Okay, let's go on to the final one. Well, I say it's the final one. I might run round the bench here and grab something else. Another Alder two-piece Strat body, and this one is £4, 1.5 ounces. Again, not contoured. Same as the last one, not contoured. I don't know. Obviously not Sunburst. I'm not going to do a Sunburst. There might be one or two that have got plans for Sunburst. So this one's going to be a solid colour. What have we done then? I think we're rehashing this already. Candy Apple Red has been done. Foam Green is going to be one of the colours that I do. Sonic Blue. We don't want to do a three-tone Sunburst. So I don't know, what are we into? We've got black, Olympic white, Lake Placid blue, Sherwood green. Sherwood green, well, yes, I did a Jazz Master, didn't I? Jazz Master body and matching headstock, neck. So I'm kind of hanging on the whole possibly black for this one. A bit of a story without boring anybody. My very first guitar came from Argus. I don't know if you get Argus internationally, but in the UK, Argus is kind of, you walk into the shop, you used to open a book catalogue. If any of you are old enough to remember what a catalogue was, you used to put in your 6 or 7 digit number into the computer. It would tell you if there was one in stock. You would click order, go up to the counter, hand your money over, and 2 minutes later some staff member would come out with the box or whatever that you've just ordered. All good, and away you go. My first guitar came from Argus, and it was a Honer sounds a little bit better, doesn't it? In fact, give me a few seconds, because this wasn't planned at all. Covered in a layer of dust and missing a ferrule from the or a bushing from the tuners. That's the neck off my first guitar, which I'm actually in the process of trying to bring back to life. So it was an LX90L. Now when I started to play, I wanted that in Sunburst, because I had a picture, and I remember it really well. It's like a thumbnail of Jimi Hendrix. And this was in 1998, 97, 98. My mum went to get the guitar, and it turned out when I opened the box on Christmas Day, it was black. Heartbroken doesn't even begin to cover it. So I am pinning my slight dislike of black parts casters' bodies on that moment, that defining moment in my life, when I was 15 years old. So I'm trying to overcome that a little bit, but I think I haven't done black for a while, and I think that's unfair, because I think part of this is really about me being able to offer. I mean, there's loads of stuff I don't like to do. Okay, there are so. I mean, how many of I would imagine there's some of you that want Inca Silver. I'm not a massive Inca Silver fan, but that shouldn't stop me from doing it. I've done one or two, and I think maybe I should do another one. Maybe one of these bodies from this batch that I've got sitting off the camera could be an Inca Silver, for example. So these are all things that I try not to let encroach on my choices for what I offer for sale, because I don't want it to be all about me and what I like. You know, maybe sometimes, you know, maybe when it comes to specifics like an aging level on a particular body I've done, well, obviously that's down to me. But when it comes to the colors, there's loads of you that like colors that you haven't seen me probably do, and that's not really fair, and I don't really like that. So I think over the next couple of months, you'll probably start to see more colors that I haven't really done before. So, but yes, back to this one and being black. I think that's fair. I think black would be fine. Probably, and maybe not a high gloss finish. I think I might do the slightly worn satin look, just to take the edge off, because one of the loveliest looks that I always see, and there's photographers that capture it impeccably, that I know and a couple I'm friends with. They capture these worn looks beautifully on camera, and one of the nicest things that you can see when it's shot properly is a lacquer finished black guitar that's just got the edge taken off the gloss. I'm not talking like a full matte, but just one that's got that sort of misted look going on, and some nice checking and stuff like that, just a little bit of wear. So that might be something to consider for this. However, if you want to see a black that is completely aged, maybe like the last Sunburst I did, if you want to go back on the website, I can't remember what number it was. It might have been 0384 or 85 or something like that. Maybe something heavily aged black would be cool. I don't know. Maybe that's something you could let me know. I don't want to do the whole comment to, drive the algorithm of YouTube, but by all means, if you want to say, hey, yeah, that black body should be gloss and do it mega aged, or maybe just do it satin with worn satin look with just a little bit of aging. That's cool as well. There's no right or wrong at the minute. Essentially what I'll do is I'll get black on it. Well, actually what I'll do first is I'll be Olympic white base coat and we'll do black over the top. So let's just put black on it now so we know when we look at it later on. Now, coming back to these other bodies. Let's see. Okay. Right, I've got a... What have I got? I've already told you I'm not giving anything away. I've done a flake thin line already, haven't I? Let's go nuts. Let's do a paisley one. Paisley thin line. Paisley thin line, P90 in the neck. What about a matching scratch plate? Paisley scratch plate? Yes? No? Another one. You know what? Let me know in the comments. Do you want a paisley scratch plate? Let's open the floor to discussion again. Maybe a white pearloid aged that can be sold with it, or can do a matching paisley one. Either way, I'm happy. Paisley is absolutely awesome. Back to these deluxes. So, what did we have on the other ones then? We've had, what did we have? We had, so we've got foam green, we've got black, we've got paisley, we've got a two-tone sunburst, and we've got a blonde burst. So this has to be a solid colour, guys. This has to be a solid colour. We've got to keep the balance going here. I've got Fiesta Red stuck in my head for some reason. Maybe because it's not a colour that you would associate with this style of guitar. I don't know. You know what? Decision made. Fiesta Red. Sometimes the first idea is the best idea. Fiesta Red. Cool. Okay, well, that rumbled on for a bit longer than I thought it would. Thanks for hanging in. Maybe there's nothing new you could learn there. I don't know. These are just things that come, you know, they come with looking at bodies. You get to have a bit of fun. The difference here is I'm actually showing you my, you know, I would have maybe a whole stack of bodies on the bench, and I would go through them and I would have some fun, because obviously the prep on this body, because it's going to be an opaque color, is different to the prep for this body because it's going to be a sunburst. So that determines this one will go in to get sprayed quicker than this one. But I'm a sunburst fan, so I reckon that one's going to look even cooler. So, but what I have to do is I have to get some pick guards for this. So I will go and do that. Might actually sell the pick guards with the bodies. I think that'd be pretty cool. Maybe stop you guys having to go and source something. Maybe, you know, help create a look as well. Give you some inspiration. So yeah, thanks for hanging in there. Muchly appreciated, and I'll catch you on the next one.